That amazing display of a monster truck driving over a mound of dirt and almost landing into the crowd because that arena is super small for something like this. That's actually at a Stronger Men conference held in Missouri over the weekend. And because when you shoot a monster truck over some dirt, men get manlier, they get stronger, testosterone grows. That's all that matters. So we're gonna get the details of why this actually works this way. But first, I want to show you guys really fast because it was a hype scene, right? There's two rock guys on like some stands and pedestals doing craziness during this whole thing, and apparently they're hyped up. I want you guys to see them. That was my favorite part. Watch. Going crazy. I was worried the truck was gonna hit the stands, honestly, because it's a really tight space. Either way it goes, let's go to what the Stronger Men Conference was. So according to its official description, the conference, quote, exists to empower and motivate men to live out God's view of manhood and be the best husbands, fathers, and leaders God has called them to be. That's not a bad little line. You can say that, right? Nothing wrong with that. You wanna make sure the men that are interested are godly, good fathers, husbands, leaders, why not? These are positive things, Jackson. I see you over there being all skeptical. See, that's the problem. Let's get to, I'm not done yet, let's get to more. Because check out the promo for this Strong Man's Fest. Because this is for next year's slate of speakers. It'll be John Lindell, he's the conference host and he heads this whole thing up. Craig Groshek, not sure I say his name. Earl McClellan, who's the lead pastor as well. There's multiple pastors, it's a religious event. And Senator Josh Hawley. One of these kids is not like the others. There's reasons why Josh Hawley's there because he's had things to say about manly men before. They just didn't make any sense. Watch.
While the left may celebrate this decline of men, I, for one, can't join them. The left's attack on America leads directly to an attack on men. Can we be surprised that after years of being told that they are the problem, that their manhood is the problem, more and more men are withdrawing into the enclave of idleness and pornography and video games? Liberty requires virtue. And in particular, it requires the manly virtues. The left-wing attack on manhood says to men, you're part of the problem. I think you put together lack of jobs, you put together fatherlessness, you put together the social messages that we teach our kids in school. I think we've got to confront that and its effects. As conservatives, we've got to call men back to responsibility. We've got to say that spending your time not working, and we have more and more men who are not working, spending your time on video games, spending your time watching porn online while doing nothing is not good for you, your family, or this country.
I would argue that men watching porn online are not doing nothing. They're definitely doing something. Lastly on this, there was a couple things from the website because I had fun perusing the website. I'm gonna buy my tickets tomorrow for next year's conference. There's a couple questions that I felt like weren't really asked by real people, but it's on the frequently asked questions section. Let's look at this question. Can my son come with me? We highly recommend that you bring your son with you to the conference. Our recommended age for sons sharing the conference experience with their families is 12 years and older. Registration is required for both you and your son. Please note, for safety reasons, minors must be accompanied by an adult at all times during the conference. That's just a way for them to say, hey, bring your kids. Come on, bro. Nobody's like, hey, can I bring my son to the man conference? Come on, bro. Of course you can bring your son to the man conference. They just want to promote that they want you to bring your sons. This was my favorite question on the frequently asked questions list. Can I gather a group of men at my house to watch the conference with me? That's a great idea, they said. We highly encourage men to gather in homes or churches to view the conference together. We do ask that each guy who is watching either have a registration or use one of your online guest passes. So of course you can watch online, but that's if you've also paid as well for that online guest registration. And gather as many men in your house as possible to watch the man conference together. If a woman shows up, I want you to kick her out. That's the situation we've got going in, Jackson.
So I think that, like on face value, a conference that's supposed to be about, teaching men how to be better fathers, better husbands. At face value, that is something good because people can always use guidance and leadership. However, when you really look at these types of spaces and, where they exist in online worlds, this is where a lot of the issue comes into play, because when you look at, like, for instance, like the red pill community, which I'm sure a lot of the viewers are familiar with, a huge portion of it is really just men who are kind of salty about their dating lives. And instead of, taking real accountability for perhaps, maybe I can be a better person, learn some better social skills, get my finances together more, be in better shape, like stuff like that. Sure, there's advice like that in these spaces, but a huge portion of it is just women these days. Women don't want to do this. Women don't want to do that. You can't trust a woman. And it's just really a bunch of toxic nonsense that doesn't allow men to be better men. So, I don't know exactly the portion of those people in there, but again, when you look at a lot of these men's conferences, you have these types of people in there, and there's this huge growing group. That's why we have incels today. A lot of that comes from these types of spaces. So you just got to be careful as you navigate, as young men try to navigate these online spaces to learn about life and dating. There's just so much toxicity online, and you really got to be careful what you're taking up.
As you saw, some of the things from, there was a promo there that I wanted to run. I'm sorry I missed that, because that's actually one of my favorite parts about this whole thing. So in mind, as we run this promo, have it queued up, you guys, for that, because it wasn't just monster trucks as part of this. There's events, there's exciting things that they're trying to get people to be involved in. That's where the monster trucks come in. They also do boxing, MMA, I think something like that, bull riding. All these types of manly things that women have no interest in that you actually want to do instead. Let's watch this promo that they have to make sure you really, really want to go.
It has a dark beauty all its own. It's 3, 2, 1, liftoff.
You have what it takes. No weapon formed against you will prosper. Rise up, men of God. Be prepared to fight and fight to win.
You see that weird mix of, tough guy stuff. We're all Christian, good, godly men to, men, you gotta fight. Like, it switches so fast. Now we're fighting. What are we fighting? I thought we were becoming good fathers, husbands, and leaders in the community. Jesus, when did the fight, who we fighting? What happened? That's the motivation. You're supposed to hook you in with all this positive energy and thought that you hear to maybe better yourselves within this community of men. And then afterwards, now it's Fight Club. Why does it always end up in Fight Club? This is crazy. Last thoughts, bro, before we go?
Yeah, and again, that's kind of the general issue with these spaces is that tone. It's like, you know what I mean? Instead of like introspection, looking at yourself, it's like you're fighting this battle against these forces that are against you, which is ironic because that's victimhood, which they always preach against.